Hello everybody, wherever you might be, this around the nation and for New Zealand is NBL Overtime. You can get involved, very simple. Hashtag NBL Overtime, there's the socials. Let's get into it. So much going on, no use me continuing to talk. He's on fire, up front on fire. Homicide, how you doing, man?
Man, too much to get into. Let's just do that. Let's do exactly that.
Hard to disagree. Liam Santa Maria, #1 newsbreaker in the game, and there's a bit floating around.
Lots to discuss. Let's get into it.
Let's start with Brisbane because it has been a roller coaster year for a team that on paper in the pre-season a lot of people were very high on. They haven't been able to yet reach the heights, and Sam McKinnon today, after James Duncan was relieved of his duties a couple of weeks ago, the interim head coach Sam McKinnon no more. Olgun Ulick was reporting today that he is on the way out as head coach but still holds, as of Tuesday, the general manager of basketball position. It's sad to watch. This is a franchise that desperately, I think the NBL desperately needs to be good. It's a major market. They haven't been able to be all that great since coming back in. And this, with another new head coach and an import that we've kind of forgotten about, on the way, has been a remarkable 3 or 4 days.
Corey, what is going on in Brisbane? Mate, it is all kinds of shenanigans taking place. It's hard to keep up with all the things you just laid out there, all the different moving pieces over recent times. Now, my understanding was Sam McKinnon was offered a contract for the rest of the year to be head coach. He said no. He's sliding back to the GM of basketball. They're bringing in a new head coach. Todd Purves is the report from Olgun Ulick from ESPN, an American guy coming in soon. My understanding is Greg Vanderjack becomes the new interim head coach. We'll see how all that plays out. Man, it's a mess in Brisbane right now. That's fair to say. My understanding of what happened today with the players finding out and all that stuff at the practice facility and the like was messy, and it already looks messy from the outside. So, man, that organisation is in turmoil right now.
Yo, listen, I said this either here, I said it on up front. I said the 2 jobs I would always stay away from is a head coach and a GM. Because it's not in your hands. It's based on the performance of the players. And if you can't get them to get up and go and be motivated and ready to play for you and win for you, it looks like the way it looks right now. And they haven't won since the Brisbane Bullets have come back into the league. So it's in shambles. That's just what it is. They haven't even had. I actually thought they were really going to do well coming in, and they haven't lived up to it. It's very unfortunate. It's looking really grim down there. It really is.
It's one of the craziest stories in recent NBL history, right? They signed Aaron Baines, and everyone was losing their mind, as we should be, right? Aaron Baines and everything he's been through, back playing in Australia, NBA champion, key cog of that Boomers team for a long time. Nathan Sobey to recommit. They go and get Tyler Johnson, extensive NBA experience, comes on in, and all of a sudden you're thinking to yourself, this is a Brisbane team that should deliver. And I'll say it again, the NBL, I think, desperately needs the big capital cities to continue to be good relatively consistently. And they haven't, right? They've gone from that and all the optimism to being 2 coaches down. One, James Duncan, they had to pay out. Another one who's a legend of the NBL who's like, well, hang on a second, clearly it's a low ball offer. They aren't ready to make a decision on who the coach is next year. So they're like, here, this is what you kind of do and hang around. And Sam McKinnon, well within his rights. The players must be screwed. We've got a new import who I still believe they shouldn't have got. Just wasting money, I think. I'm not diminishing Andrew White III's skill. I'm just like, this season's done. There's a million other bigger priorities than bringing another dude in. And here we sit today. They've got to play Cairns, who are having a great year. A traditional Sunshine Stouse that is fun to watch. These 2 teams should hate each other. And now Wednesday night's going to be must-watch because, hell, we don't even know who's coaching the team.
Well, by the time this new head coach from overseas arrives and takes over the team, he will be the 4th guy to be head coach of the team this season. James Duncan, Sam McKinnon, whoever coaches this week, which I presume will be Greg Vanderjack, and then when he takes hold of the whiteboard. Now, that is too much. That is just too much for any team to handle in any way, shape or form.
There's the understatement of the year.
It's a shame because, whatever went down there with James Duncan and Sam McKinnon sliding in, I felt like the right move from there was for him to coach out the rest of the year. And then when you get to the back end, see where you land, and then sort it out from there. Because you need as much stability as you can possibly have in this type of circumstance, but that's not where we are.
But how would that be stability if he's never even coached at a professional level before? They were cooked.
But you're right.
After James Duncan left, they were cooked because now you haven't, just because he's the GM, he ain't a coach.
But in no
We've never seen him on a pro-level coach.
But in no respect to Sam McKinnon's coaching prowess, to which I also understand we haven't quite seen it, at least it's stability to try and work out what the franchise wants going forward.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's Sam McKinnon. Liam's not saying it's Sam McKinnon next year, but we got a raft of very good basketballers led by Baines and Sobey who need to have confidence in the franchise going forward. Again, you don't have to sit there and say, Sam McKinnon, here's a 5-year extension. We just need to work out what the owners, the administrators, the players, the key commercial backers of this club are on the same page so we can reset and work out what we're going to do in the off-season. And unfortunately, we are nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. And again, that's not talking to the new coach coming in of not being able to do a good job and being highly skilled. I'm not suggesting any of that.
They're mentally done, bro.
They are mentally
could bring
done.
Whoever. You could bring Coach Carter in here.
I agree.
It's done.
I
Yeah.
agree. But don't keep
Done.
throwing new curveballs at these players and people within the club, not just the players, but everyone involved.
Yeah.
And continuing to try and throw curveballs at a club that you're right now, look mentally done. It sucks.
And I do feel for the players now in this
Absolutely.
situation. I mean, this is a team you want to see on your schedule at this point because this is exhausting for them. And then what are we doing now on the floor, both at either end of the floor? I mean, this is, as you continue to remind us, Corey, over the years, a really, really, really tough league. And if you are not really at your peak, you're going to get walked over. And that's what teams are going to do to this team right now.
Now, there is a positive. And this is where they start. Baines and Sobey are under contract into next year. So 2 boomers are under contract. Tyler Johnson's shown moments. Tanner Krebs is, before he got it, I thought Tanner Krebs was having a really good year. Harry Frolling's had his moments as well. So there are some key pieces that going into next season you can start to work with, but you can't start to worry about
How about
that.
we're mid-season
Well,
talking
but this
about
is
next season
unfortunately
for them?
But this
That's
is unfortunately
We're
what happens.
mid-season. We're halfway through the year.
But this is what you got to
and we're
do.
already talking about next year.
Well, you know what you don't want to do.
Don't worry.
Hey.
They're not alone.
Hey.
We got another team we're going to talk about
Hang
already
on.
halfway through. Can we just, when we getting to them? When are we getting to them?
Who?
What do you mean who? Melbourne United. When we talking about
Oh,
them?
now you want to
week you
talk
didn't
about
wanna
Melbourne
talk about
United.
When we talking about them?
In a little bit.
Hold on.
When
Hold
we
on.
talking
Bring back,
about
can we
Melbourne
play the
United?
tape? Bring back the tape of Corey saying,
we're
we don't
fine.
I got nothing to say
We're
about this
talking
team.
about next season because their
yeah.
season is done.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Now, that's 5 or 6 minutes away. Anything
right.
more on Brisbane?
No.
Okay, cool. Let's get to the JJs because
Please.
that was a huge win. They were down double figures, 14 points into the 4th quarter, and their ability, as we continue to chat in crunch time and in clutch and their boys, is indicative of what Milton Doyle does here. Just goes over the screen, little step back, Sean Bruce in his face, bang! Back to Tasmania they go, and what a remarkable... there's no more words I can find to describe that defensive effort in the last 9 minutes by the JJs.
Not just the defensive effort, both ends of the floor.
True.
The way they execute offensively in crunch time is really amazing. And he's elite, best in the league. And then you're right, defensively, they just continue to do what they do, game in, game out, quarter after quarter after quarter. And they were down 14 with 8 or 9 minutes to go. So against the defending champs on the road, really impressive result. And I said post-game, I'm at a point now where I think this team makes the top 4. I think this team makes the top 4 over. They've got Sydney, New Zealand, South East Melbourne will be in there, and I think this Jack Jumpers team will be in there too.
25-6-4 versus Sydney. 33-9-3 versus Brisbane. 23-3-2 versus Melbourne United. Down the stretch of each of those games, he was the guy. Milton Doyle, a.k.a. the silent assassin, just goes about his business. He's in a groove. Defense, I don't know why we surprised. I don't know how we sitting here saying, well, not we, you guys or you, saying what you're saying about them. We saw what they did last year. The bulk of their team is back, and they're more experienced. They've been in these situations before. Yeah, you could talk about a meltdown of what Sydney didn't do, but we know defensively what this team has done to everybody, home or away. This is nothing new. Is it or is it not?
No, it's not.
You just continue to not believe in the Jack Jumpers.
Well,
and on Twitter, they keep letting you know about
they do. Don't
So
worry
at
about
some point, at least you convert now. Took you long enough, but at least you there.
Well, yes and no. A little while ago, I locked them into the top 6. And now I'm locking them into the top 4. So we can do this whole song and dance that I don't appreciate this team, but it's not completely accurate. The other thing is...
Did you have them in the top 6 from the beginning?
No.
Okay, then. That's what I'm talking about. But again, what did they show you last year?
The thing is,
What did they show you last year? They're doing it this year. How don't you believe it?
What? So tell me, why aren't they in the top 2?
What do you mean top 2?
Well,
you said they were not going to be in the top 6.
Have they done it?
What have they done?
Have they done it game after game after game?
Done last year. After 0-3, they steadied the ship and they continue to ascend.
No,
believe.
They've taken some
You
big
need
L's.
to believe.
They've taken some big L's
You need to
along the road.
believe.
They went to New Zealand and got wiped off the court.
You need to believe. You need to believe.
Now, firstly, they are 8 and 6, right? Mm-hmm. So I understand what you're saying because they're continually doing in crunch time what they did in major moments last year.
Milton Doyle has settled in, and he is their guy.
He is, and I'm going to get back to you.
And he is cooking.
Oh, you're up.
27, 6, and 3 over the last 3 games, 3 W's.
Do you have them in the top 4? Do they make the top 4 for you?
They make finals.
Do they make the top 4?
They make finals.
Okay, so I believe in them more than you do.
They make finals.
Well, what's finals
For the
you?
record.
Top
I
four
gave
or the
you,
play-in?
for the record,
For the
please,
record, I
started
believe
off
in the team more
preseason
than
saying
does.
10 reasons why I believe.
Top 4?
What did you say about Melbourne United?
Are they before the
Is Ray John Tucker an NBA player? You said he was. Is he an NBA player today?
No.
Okay, then. Is Melbourne United making finals?
No.
Okay, 2 games ago, what did you say about Melbourne United? They got the team now, they're ready to go after they won. Where they at right now?
No, I said this is not a finals team.
Where they
ages
at
ago.
now?
Not in it.
Okay, cool. Let's go.
Good
morning.
Let's talk about the Sydney Kings just quickly because Chase Buford, and they were disappointed. As great as the JJs were, the Kings were really poor late, and Chase Buford, the head coach, had this to say about their fourth quarters post-game.
It's like our 6th in a row now. So, yeah, I mean, we just suck in the fourth quarter. We're soft.
How do you fix that?
If I knew we wouldn't be here.
Personnel? That's something you like to change?
No.
Geez, I thought I needed a haircut. Chase might be at the barber with me. All right, talk to me. The fourth quarters, best team last year, defending champions, top of the ladder. Were great for 3 quarters in both games this weekend. One they won in New Zealand, one they lost. Can you talk to me?
Top of the table, been getting the job done, but it's a problem for them to solve because, as Chase says there, it has been an issue. Look at some of these numbers for the Cardiac Kings and their fourth quarter struggles. They are the top scoring team in the league, but they've been outscored in 5 of their last 6 final quarters. As I said, they rank first in scoring. They average 90 points a game, but they're actually just 9th in fourth quarter scoring. Only Illawarra below them, and then you can see Xavier Cooks there. He ranks equal 40th in fourth quarter scoring. He's actually top 5 in scoring in each of the other quarters, but when it gets into crunch time, his scoring dips away, and so does the team's. Now, this is a team that likes to play up tempo, but when in crunch time, when the game slows down, they're finding it difficult to execute. The Jack Jumpers are the antithesis to that. They like to play slow all game long, so in crunch time, they just continue to do their thing. Now, last season, they had a couple of guys who you could just throw it to in the half court, and they would create. Jalen Adams, of course, MVP. Derek Walton Jr. is terrific. Jalen Adams was the MVP of the league and was all kinds of clutch. Jarrell Martin and Ian Clark as well. In fourth quarters, in the half court, other guys who could create off the bounce. And they don't have, Tim Suarez can't do that like Jarrell Martin could. Justin Simon can't do that like Ian Clark could. So it's a problem for them to solve because it's hurting them a bit right now.
It's been tough, and they got a couple of get out of jail free cards. I mean, those 2 buzzer beaters, changed everything, right? They wouldn't be in first if those 2 buzzer beaters don't go down. I'm not too worried about them. They'll fix that. I think Derek Walton Jr. will really get to understand that down the stretch of a game, he's going to have to be the guy. He's a lead guard, and he is elite. And a lot of times he's just in second gear, just chilling. But in the second half of the year, I think we're going to look to see him do more down the stretch, a la Jalen Adams, because, who else is getting it done down the stretch? It has to be him. We'll get to another team about needing a lead guard to get busy down the stretch, because they in trouble.
That's on the other side of this. Wherever you might be, hello to you. Hashtag NBL Overtime. Plenty more next. Wherever you might be, hello, welcome back. This is NBL Overtime, hashtag NBL Overtime, and late on a Monday night, in particular if you're not in Perth, you watched an absolute ripping contest. Melbourne United trying to get a bit of momentum, and the Perth Wildcats likewise on their home court, changing some rotations, had to get it done. And to be honest, Liam, you called the game for 49 minutes and 29 seconds. Melbourne United were the better team.
Well, yeah, I mean, Perth got off to a flying start. They were up by 14 in the first quarter. Melbourne, great fight back. And, yeah, they had control. They had control of the game. They were up. They just should have closed that thing out, but they had trouble getting the ball in bounds. And then just a remarkable finish. Todd Blanchfield and then Corey Webster. Bang, bang in those last few seconds. What an unbelievable way to finish it. There's the first play that set it up, the steal from Travers, and Cotton was able to get the finish. That cuts it down, and then this came out of nowhere. 4-point play. The miss perfectly bounces back to Blanchfield, and then Webster ready for the moment and grabs it with both hands. Enormous win for the Wildcats. Right in that mix, Shaylee wasn't quite able to hit the game winner after that, and the celebrations ensued for the guys on the floor and the Red Army in the stands.
Happy 250th to Corey Webster. 87 to 79. 37 seconds left. And you lose. You're fully intact. The game was yours. You know what I call that? A choke. Because that's exactly what it was. So anyone that thought, based off of what we saw a couple days ago, a couple nights ago, at home, Melbourne United get a big win. Shaylee came back, was huge. Was huge. Because he was the missing piece. It's over. Season done. They win that game. Now, there's life around the team. They won 2 straight. Illy comes back. I mean, it was an exceptional game. He hit I cut the game off after Shea Hilly hit the 3.
Did you?
Over Bryce Cotton. I said, this game's over.
Go to sleep. When did you find out?
I'm on Twitter 5 minutes later. 5 minutes later, I'm like, the game's done. Game's done. Shaylee's back. Isaac playing well. Like, this game is done. XRM off the bench, grooving. CG43 ball. Great team effort. Game's done.
Should have been.
I go on Twitter maybe 5-7 minutes later, and somebody put up like, get out of jail free card. I said, get the out of here. Went back, I was like, let me get the KO Sports, go back a little bit.
Right.
How did they lose?
Wow.
I watched it, I said, season done.
They switched off. They switched off.
How do you switch off when you got 6 wins, desperate to get this, to steady the ship?
How do you switch off? You've watched this league long enough.
Yo, dude, you're right.
Come on.
My fault. My fault.
Crazy shit. Excuse me, crazy stuff.
Yo,
happens.
You said it.
It
You
happens.
said it. I hope you're happy. We're going to lose our license now.
Crazy stuff happens.
Yo.
People switched off at 3/4 time of Sydney Tassie, and they live to regret it.
Thank God for KO Sports. I could read one.
Now, the big...
Oh, my God.
That was huge. Corey Webster into that starting lineup. We spoke about it last week. He was brilliant. Luke Travers is
Shout out to Luke Travers. Shout out to Luke Travers. What was Luke's numbers? I wrote them down.
You might slide in the
Travers, where you at? Luke, 11, 6, 5, and 3.
Yeah, predominantly in the second half.
All in the second
Big,
half.
big second half, man. Big game.
Yeah.
Big game.
Now, on the back of that,
Bryce Cotton, 29.
Bryce Cotton, MVP of the game. Was that you, the game of Corey Webster? Now, just quickly, so playing into the final buzzer, And that's a perfect example of it. I know the game's a little closer, but
Totally different.
yeah,
example.
absolutely. But this is what's come and crept into basketball is that
How you don't box out at the free throw line?
well,
Box the shooter out.
And it went right back to the shooter.
Face palm.
Listen,
two things.
their season don't get any easier. They don't get no easier.
No, Australian Open's coming into town.
Showing the road right now. It's just all bad.
You didn't want to talk about him. Now you can't
now
stop
you
talking
can't
about
stop.
him.
No, like, because with your team fully intact, you know how important these games are to try your best. Right now, Adelaide's slipping out the 6.
But they tried their best.
We beat them.
Perth are ready to just say, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're sliding in.
No doubt. By default.
Well,
It's not by default.
Come
You're
on.
still going to win the game.
Box the shooter
You
out.
no, you agree, but you still...
And if you don't
Webster's
do it,
still
we'll
gotta
take
hit it.
advantage.
Yeah. It's not by default. Like
talk
Grant,
to me about playing to the
man.
end. Tyler Johnson, he wasn't happy.
Half alluded to it last week. Jack
Right.
McVeigh shoots a late 3. Tyler Johnson wasn't happy.
Yep.
Showed his displeasure. Here, this is from last week when the JJs blew out the Bullets in the 4th quarter.
So we know he's new to the
Right.
league. He's from the NBA.
Yep.
He doesn't understand.
He then doubled down on it in a media interview and some comments late last week. We can see it here. So obviously already on the agenda, you can see the score and the time remains.
Right.
So that sort of bubbled away last week. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix this week on the game just gone played Adelaide. So we're going to show that in a moment. Here we go. Junior Madut, game's pretty much done. 50, well, this done. Bang, hits it, gets a little bump. Right, hits a 3.
Daniel's
Donuts. Daniel's Donuts, best donuts in the world, by the way. So there you go. The fans get it. Simon Mitchell then asked about it. This is what he said. His issue right now, there's some players who want to make a beef at the end of the game. It's over. Now they want to fight. They've had 40 minutes to make a point. We're playing to the end, which I think a lot of people feel, but there are some people who are like, hey, don't disrespect me. Homicide. What do you make of this whole situation?
Here's my thing. Brisbane versus Tassie. I get that. Hold the ball out. Game's done. Hold the ball out. Difference is in Phoenix, they had a chance to give their fans.
Oh, hold on. The donuts?
Donuts.
Donut guy?
Donuts make the difference.
100%.
See,
100%. I'm going to give my fans a thank you for supporting us. I make the shot, we all get donuts. We out of there.
You know
Hit
what?
the shot, game over.
$1 million
I'm
to
shooting
1.
that ball.
$1 million to 1, that was in Junior Madut's mind.
I'm shooting that ball. If we
I'm
got
shooting
98.
that ball as well. If I'm Jack McVeigh, I'm shooting that pill.
Jack McVeigh, I'm holding it out because the game's done. We won. There's nothing. I'm on the road.
I don't understand though. If we're playing for percentage, then everyone's playing to the final buzzer no matter what the score, or we're not. Let's do one or the other. We've got some teams, some coaches saying dribbling it out, some saying keep going, and therein lies the confusion.
98
No, but
points.
there's no confusion.
I'm going
There
for the
should be
donuts,
no.
bro.
There's no confusion.
But Scott
if
Roth's
a guy
saying
is playing the
calling
game
to
out,
his guys to dribble it out. Dean Vickerman called to his guys to say dribble it
well,
out.
then that's fine. Then you don't really have to try too hard on defense. But if the coach is saying, hey, play it out, play defense.
Yo,
like
bro.
it's not.
It comes down to
We don't need a
donuts,
league
man. If
mandate.
they had 91 points, that's what it comes down to. They had 91 points. Madut's not shooting it.
Hey, well,
they got 98.
come
Dude,
on,
if you
mate.
say it comes
Come
down to
on.
percentage,
98? You
I'm
think
here
Simon
for
Mitchell
it. But
cares
if
about
you say it
donuts?
comes down to
Yo,
donuts,
You know what?
telling
You know
you.
what? I'm going to a break. Get
I'm
yourself a
telling you.
donut. Plenty more on the other
Daniel's
side. Of this.
Daniel's Donuts.
Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. Yes or no style. We've got to get out of here. We're jam-packed and we're running out of time. So here we go. Will Mitch Creek make the Boomers World Cup team? Will he?
no.
Should he?
Probably yes.
Did you inspire Luke Travers?
Nope.
Will Tassie make the grand final?
No.
Cue the outrage. Is Milton Doyle the best new import?
No.
Is Southeast Melbourne Phoenix the deepest team in the league?
No.
Has Antonius Cleveland been disappointing this year?
No.
Hashtag NBL Overtime. There you go. Fairly easy. Good job by you. I like you being a little bit home. Up front is on fire. Make sure you grab that. The huddle. You got a huddle this week?
Hey, yes, sir.
Who you got?
Milton Doyle.
Oh, on cue after you just bagged him. My God. Yes.